Form I'm going to show you is this antecedent behavior and consequence form. This is one of my favorite forms to use when gathering data. It's just important that you understand how to use it and how to set it up, and this will save you a lot of time and energy later if you can set it up correctly in the beginning. So this is the form, this is the blank form, and you'll see this as an available download. So the first thing that you're going to do before you have anybody complete this is create the key. So the key down here, you will come in and you'll see context, activity, and location. So right here, you would just type in any different types of activities that the student does during the day. So it might be math class, it might be recess, it might be lunch, it might be reading, it might be hallways or whatever context that student is going to be in, that those behaviors might occur. The other thing is you're going to look at these antecedent setting events. So anything that can often trigger the behavior. So maybe there was a demand placed, maybe there was a verbal, demand placed. You could put took away an item. It could be maybe told no. Could be maybe a transition. It could be maybe waiting. Any of those would go there. And then your identified target behaviors. So whatever those target behaviors are that you determined for your FBA would go here. So maybe hitting. It could be tearing up items. Whatever those target behaviors are. And then you would go into what is the typical consequence or outcome that happens after those behaviors. So maybe it's a verbal reminder, verbal reminder. It might be sent to office. It might be, you just ignored it maybe. So anything that would be a consequence there. And then the student reaction. Did the behavior stop? Did it intensify? Okay, so you'd put that right there. And so now you've created this key. So once you create the key, you would just make as many copies as you need for however many days you want to take data. So up here at the top, you'll see the date and then the time of session and location if you need to put that. You might even be able to leave that off of there. But then, so if I'm going to take data for, say, 2 weeks, I would make 10 copies of this. So each day I would have at least one copy. So that way, whoever's collecting the data, we don't want them changing the key unless we talk about it as a team, because it makes it easier whenever you're going to analyze the data later if this key stays the same. Okay, so then what you would do is you would go up here once you have your keys made, and all they do is enter the letters. So say we had a student who hit, so I would put hit. He hit when he was in math class. The teacher put a demand on him. He hit, and there was a verbal reminder, and then it intensified. And then I would put my initials here. Okay, so that's all you would have on that data sheet. So it makes the data collection a lot more efficient. Plus, it makes it more objective, where you can see exactly what happened. And I'll show you when we're using the Excel sheet later in the next video why this is very helpful if it's all consistent and very simple. So that is how you use this antecedent behavior consequence form. Like I said, I really like this. I've also used this form if I have a teacher or somebody who's been journaling, I'll pull that journal up and I'll use this form to get these key pieces from the journaling. Okay, and I'll show you how to do that next in the next video. So enjoy this form. I think you'll find it very helpful. And please let me know if you have any questions. Now I'm going to show you how you can use this form to get information from maybe somebody who's been journaling about the behavior. So you can see here, like I explained in the last video, I already created the key down here on the antecedent behavior consequence form. So I put math class, recess, lunch, English, hallway, school bus, and then demand, took away item, told no, transition, waiting, social demand. The two behaviors that we're targeting here would be that inappropriate language, tearing up items, and then all the different consequences that have happened, and then the student reaction. Another thing I want to emphasize on here is that once you create this key is encouraging team members to only document when the behavior is one of these two behaviors on the key. This is not to document every single behavior the student has, just the ones that you're targeting. So if you look here on that Monday, and so I would typically have a sheet for each day. I'm going to show you how I'm going to combine it on this one day, but normally I would have a sheet for 11-12 and 11-13. But I'll just go through this example. So the antecedent that happened. So what I did first here is on the journal, I went and I highlighted the behaviors those target behaviors I highlighted in the teacher's journaling. Okay. So then I can easily go back and I can see, okay, tore it up, tear up materials. Okay, that is a B. Okay, and so what was he doing? He was sitting in math class, so I've got an A. The teacher presented the class with new materials, put it on the desk. So I would say there was a demand placed. So the teacher was saying, you have to do this. I don't care. You have to do this. So then John tore up the worksheet, looked at the teacher, smiled, tore it up, threw it on the floor. The teacher said, that's it. I've had it. You have in-school suspension tomorrow. Okay. So then there was in-school suspension. So the student's reaction, really, it stopped, right? Because he left class. So then the next one would be John was sitting at lunch. He saw a few students of a different race. He proceeded to use racial terminology. So I would put lunch. And then the other students were awkwardly laughing. So I'm going to put on here that was a social demand. And then he made inappropriate comments. And then he kept doing it, threatening. And he said, I'm just kidding. You need to loosen up. The teacher asked what happened. The counselor brought into the room. And he now cannot eat in the cafeteria. So he was essentially, kept, sorry. We might have to add a key on here, but it was kind of almost like a in-school suspension, I would say, because he's not able to eat during lunch. So you could put in-school suspension on here. You could also put meeting with counselor if you needed to change the key, but make sure you're the one changing the key and we're not adding a whole bunch of different things on there. And then the behavior, I'm assuming it stopped because he was out of that situation. So this is how you would take that journal and turn it into this ABC. So that way you're using that information that has already been collected to help gather that data. So thank you, and let me know if you have any questions. Show you how to take the data that you collected on those ABC sheets and put them into this Excel sheet that I created to help you if you're wanting to create visuals to demonstrate and show the team the data. So what you'll do here is you'll start by filling in down here below it says main sheet. So you'll put up here your date range, and then you'll go and you'll count how many different behavior occurrences happened between the two of them, or however many target behaviors you have. So here on this one, you can see I had yelling, threatening himself, others, physical aggression. And so there was 11 total. And so here I put in how much for each behavior. And then down here, and so I just took those ABC sheets and I went through and counted. Then we looked at days of the week. So how many times did the behavior occur on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? I want to make sure that this 11 always adds up to the total number. And then the time of the day, because I'm seeing if there's any patterns there, the specific people involved, the environments. So from that environment column, activity. So I'm going to list those, and I'm going to look how many times did the behaviors happen in each one of those environments. The antecedents, so transition, denied access, for each, how often it happened based on that. And then down here I put the consequence. So there was either verbal direction or removed, and I put how many times that occurred. And then the next part is how many times when that consequence occurred, did it stop? So you can see verbally, when we did verbal reminders, 7 of the times that we used it, it stopped. And then when we removed them from class, 1 of the times that it was used, it stopped. Okay, so you'll fill that all in, and then it'll give you graphs. It'll automatically do this. So the time of the day, so you can see here, it happens more in the afternoon. Physical aggression is the behavior that happens the most often. These are those consequences, or antecedents, and then consequences used, and then the consequence effectiveness. So these are it says all graphs for all the graphs in one, and then, or you could break it down to where you can see it for each specific item about that behavior that we put in that main sheet. So I just found this tool to be helpful to put it all in one place and to help you really analyze to see if there's any patterns. It should automatically fill in the information for you. This worksheet, I'll put the template on the course. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.